Welcome to a special edition day, the A60 show on a Saturday afternoon. I know my guys are in there playing softball, but we had to get this interview in before I leave to head to New York for the A60 reunion and Jersey party. Um, before I do, before I introduce our guests, I just want everybody to know tickets are still available for the Jersey party. Hit me up in my DM if you would like to attend for the donation. It is $20 for the donation. So hit me up if you are interested in attending the Jersey party. I will post the flyer again. It is Friday, next Friday from 7 to 11. BYOB. Bring your own bag. You already know what that is. All right. Then we had the reunion game at St. John's Park, July 9th and 10th. We'll be doing a co-ed game Saturday, 12 o'clock. Please get there early. Then, after Team Kenny Kings versus Team Texas, bringing some guys with me from Texas to show them what it's like to play with a clincher. Then, on Sunday, we're doing it all over again. Team Vinny versus Team Texas. Then we will have an all-star game after that game. More importantly, come out to the park, show some support, have a great time, take a lot of pictures. It's going to be a lot of family and friend orientated. So we're looking to have a great time next week in New York. Um, Also, the shirts. I see a lot of people saying they want shirts. That is great. I'm looking forward to it. Listen, the shirts are $20. I will have shirts on hand to sell, but for those of you that are sending me your orders, I'm gonna make sure you DM me. I've seen it. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go and let you know that your shirt size and order has been taken. Nothing will be placed unless the money has been received. So please DM me. All right. Um, what else? Shout out to my Spencer Squire Foundation family for all their support. Shout out to my Elite Learners family. Kamara Jackson over there doing great things, looking to make that move out here to Texas. Great things. Can't wait. Cannot wait. So shout out to all my Brooklyn family. Shout out to my family out there, period, for always supporting from day one. Love and appreciate and respect. Nothing changed. As I tell everybody, I do this. I do this for us. I don't do this for anybody else. I do this for us. I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to coming back home and doing what I love to do with my family. And that's have a great time. That's how I remember that park being, having a great time, having a lot of fun. Um, Another thing, please share and like my videos. I would appreciate that. Go to my YouTube channel, Chopping It Up with A60. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to see all old videos and new videos that's up and coming. I would appreciate it. All right. Um, Now, this young lady that I'm bringing on today, um, I met her for the very first time doing an interview with a great friend of mine's legend, Mr. T, and I have reposted that interview. Um, and me and this lady, it's a young lady, have been friends ever since that day. We constantly talk on the phone. Well, let me rephrase that. She constantly calls me on the phone, sends me text messages to check on me. Um, I guess she adopted me as her little brother, and I really appreciate and respect her for doing so. She even checks on me when I'm coaching to make sure I'm all right, make sure I'm eating. She's always on me. She's giving me great motivational speaking, just letting me know, just keep pushing, keep doing the podcast, keep going. When there was moments where I was going to stop, but she just kept going with me. She just kept moving with me, and I really appreciate her for doing that. Um, she's a great woman, and we have something in common. What we're about to talk about today, where I lost my mother because of an addiction, and now we get to hear from a person to speak about it. But we're going to just talk about more than just that. If you don't know who this woman is, if you don't have no idea who this woman is, I'm going to bring her to the table. She is known on Facebook as Sadie McVeigh, which that is not her name at all, but I get why she's doing it. So her name is Janice. So I would like for everybody to welcome Janice to the stage. Sis, what up?
Hello. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. A little nervous, but I'm good.
Oh God, don't start, man. Don't do that.
Don't you start.
Don't start. You've
Start.
been we've been prepping for this for a while.
Yeah.
You knew this was coming. Nothing to be nervous about.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna happen.
You just don't start that crying stuff.
No,
That's
that I'll tell you the last time we did this, you the one who was crying, so don't try it.
because the last time we did is we had to get off of here because I've been on sent myself and everybody else to jail, so I had to switch up. I had to switch up.
Right, right. Oh, we got Renee Washington. She said, "Hi, Janice. How you doing?" She said,
Hey,
"What up?"
Nate.
That's good. So you got people don't realize that you played softball.
Many years.
Was you good?
Man, I was awesome. I was third base, center field, left field. I played every position they had, and I did a good job at it. Yes, I was.
You,
I'm a Hall of Famer.
you're a Hall of Famer.
Sure, you're right.
What makes a Hall of Famer?
A person like me that's an awesome ball player.
I hear that.
That's it.
Okay, I ain't gonna fight you now.
All right now.
What was it like growing up in that time as far as softball? Like, how did that? First of all, how did you get into softball? How did you get into that?
Well, I was a tomboy all my life.
Mhm,
And what happened was I used to be out there. We lived in tenement houses, and they had the little bricks on the side of it. And
mhm,
we used to draw a box with chalk, a white box on the bricks. And we had a Spalding ball. And you had a mop stick. And they would throw the ball and you had to hit the ball. And that's how I started out. That's how I started out. And, my mother used to whoop me for her mop sticks all the time. Every week I
mhm.
would get a whooping. Because every time she buy one, I'll take the next one.
You couldn't clean the house if you taking all the mop sticks.
Look, they was being replaced, and replaced. And my mother said to me, "You need to be going out there playing some baseball or something." See the difference between softball. She said baseball and
Right.
stuff, you know. And that's what I did. And that was my hobby. I loved it. That between that and bowling, but bowling came after the softball. But
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay. What teams did you play for when you was playing softball?
I played for the Players.
Mhm,
I played for Cha Cha.
mhm,
I played for Elizabeth Thomas.
mhm,
Um, I played for I believe it was the female rebel Maxine and Debbie and her father had their team over in City Park, downtown Brooklyn,
mhm,
and that's who I started playing with. And
mhm,
me and Maxine and us, we stayed together, and every team we all played on each team together. I played for the Athletics, Clyde. I played for the Green Machine when they had a team.
mhm.
Um, several teams, several teams. It was a lot of teams I played for. I can't
Yeah,
remember all because I'm up at age now, so you know.
I got you. Now I remember. Now, well, I heard. I don't remember that a lot of these teams were bar teams, if I'm not mistaken. Is that something you remember?
Yes.
Yeah. What bars do you remember that had teams, if you can remember?
What bar? What bar? What bar? Well. Basically, they was clubs. A lot of them.
Clubs.
Like
Okay. Okay.
yeah, like Clyde,
Clyde's. Yes.
Green
Athletics. You're right.
Machine,
Okay.
Green Machine.
Mhm.
You had it was quite a few of them.
Right. Okay.
You
Okay.
had who else? Oh my goodness. Um, it was. I'm trying to think of the other teams that was had clubs, and I really can't think. I just know the ones that I was on as a
Right.
female. The guys, I can't
No.
call what clubs they was.
Yeah. But I understand. Renee said, "Didn't you play with Maxine, Gigi, and myself in the on the Blues?"
Yeah, thank you, Renee.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. She's all right.
Renee on it. Renee on it. She
Yeah.
A60 family. Renee A60 family, so she on
Oh,
it.
without a doubt, without a doubt. I
Yeah.
love her. I love her too. I love her so much. I even played with. Matter of fact, I even played with Renee when they had the when we used to get out there and have the memorials. Me and Renee and all those played together. For
Oh wow.
Margaret, Julie, you know, several, Cookie,
Hmm.
and several of our people that's left us. Yes.
Right. Now I know we did that interview with Mr. T back in the days. Nothing but respect for Mr. T. Love him to death. Um, where? How did you get affiliated with Mr. T?
Well, me and Jamela and us was cool, and being with the, playing with the females in the league. When we didn't have a game, I would go out there and watch the guys play, or when the females played and we wasn't playing, I'll go out there and watch them. And Mr. T, he was always in the park,
Hmm.
and I would go over there and I'll stand over there with Mr. T, and I start talking, and he just start laughing, you know. And when I used to go, I used to look for Mr. T because I didn't really associate with too many people at all. I was
Right.
always a loner. So
Right.
Mr. T, it was just something special about him. He was just so cool. He was so nice and so respectful. And it's not like I can't say that Mr. T ever said anything bad about anybody or any team or any team. If he ever said anything negative about him. Only thing you hear Mr. T say, well, he should have moved over. He should have got that ball. I don't know how he missed that ball, or she missed that ball, or something like that. But Mr. T was for his girls, though. I
Yeah.
think he was a good coach. He's a good person, period. He ain't got a malice bone in his body. Man, I love
Definitely.
him and respect him, and I always will love and respect him for who he is.
Definitely. That's definitely. He's a great man.
Yes.
He actually helped, jumpstart my career playing out in St. John's and Kingston Park. He was the guy who honed in some of my talents to help me make it easier before all the other guys got to me. But he was the very first that, really took me under his wing. So shout out to Mr. T. That's my guy. He threw out the first pitch last year. So hopefully I can get him out again this year to throw out the pitch again. So I'm hoping for that.
Right, right.
So let's transition into why we're here.
Okay.
You wanted to talk about lost at 22. So for people, tell them what that means. Lost at 22.
Well, Lost at 22 is a true story because when I as a kid growing up, first of all, I came from an alcoholic and drug family where people were sniffing glue out of brown paper bags and drugs and all of that there and watching and growing up behind stuff like that there. My mother being an alcoholic and brother being into these drugs and stuff like that there. Um I had I had my children at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was I lost my children to the system in 79. And
Mm-hmm.
in 79, I was 22 years old.
Wow. Okay.
So that's why it says lost at 22.
Okay. So that's very interesting when you're saying lost at 22,
Mhm.
because a lot of people can't imagine being lost at an early age, and 22 is a very young age.
Yes.
Um, and I think that's very powerful that you want to talk about that now. Uh, but we also here to talk about your sobriety. How many years has that been?
Next month, I have 31 years
That is a
clean.
blessing. That is a blessing. That is a blessing. Salute to you, Queen, out there and open and honest about that. So that is amazing. That is amazing in itself. Um,
Thank you.
Now let's talk about the stages where you say you lost at 22. Why, you know, all the things that was going on in your family, alcoholic, drugs, but why was you lost at 22? Because of things that you've seen around you.
Well, what happened was I used to live on 2155 Dean Street.
Hmm.
And, me and all four of my children.
Hmm.
And what happened was somebody called the ACS case on me. And
Hmm.
I knew they was coming to do a visit.
Hmm.
So I had to get some Pampers for my daughters, my twins. They was, 3 months old. And the lady that lived in my building, I asked her, could she sit in my house and keep an eye on my, you know, daughters because my sons wasn't there until I went down the street to my sister's house to get these here, get this money for these Pampers. And what happened was when I came back, the lady had one of my children, one of my twins. She was down in the house, and I was like, "Well, what's going on? What happened?" And she said that she stepped out to go down to our house, her apartment, which was down the hall, and they came in and they took my daughter, and they had to take the other one from her. So I said, "Well, why didn't you take both of them instead of leaving one in the house?" She said, "Because the other one was asleep. But it only takes a minute for a child to wake up,
Right.
especially twins, you know."
Hmm.
And when they took my twins, I had to go to the agency and turn my boys in.
Mm.
I had to go to the family court
Hmm.
and turn my boys in. Um, it was hurtful. So what happened was I wound up losing my apartment. They gave me 2 years to get another apartment and to get my children back. And what happened was I couldn't find an apartment because now my assistance is cut off for stuff because I was on public assistance. Ain't no shame in my game. Um, and so now being cut off public assistance and stuff, can't find a place. So they gave me 2 years. So I struggled for 2 years. I struggled. It's not like nobody was really able to step up and get them. So in September of 79, I lost my parental rights. And in October of 79 is when my binge started. I got high for 12 and a half years. I started out a freebase for 8 years. That's that stuff Richard Pryor got worked up with. That's how I started
Hmm.
getting high. October the 30th, 1979. This much older man I knew, he turned me on to freebasing.
Hmm.
And freebasing, it really wasn't bad. You know, I could function, you know. I could go outside, don't have to feel weird like I'm looking crazy and stuff. I was just looking normal and whatnot. So for 8 years, I did that. And then it switched over to crack. And that was the worstest thing that happened. When I
Wow.
started that crack, now that there is something serious. Because there's so many ways you could have, cooked it up. Ammonia, you know, um, baking soda and water, you know, alcohol, you know, it was so many ways that you could do it. And the high was totally different
Mm-hmm.
because it was a real rush
Mm-hmm.
and it make your mind want to do crazy shit. I mean, excuse me, crazy things.
No, you curse. You good.
And I'm trying to be polite and professional. I don't want to curse.
Well, we know that's not you. So what are you doing?
So there you go. I'm not gonna entertain that. I ain't gonna let you
Why?
tell me that it's
Why you gonna
okay.
try to be different now? Because I'm gonna call you out.
Listen,
Don't try to be different now.
look, I ain't the way I used to be. See, years ago I was, I wasn't sugar and spice, everything nice. I was Sag Hood and wish a motherfucker would. But I'm not going there with you today. So I'm gonna be professional. I ain't gonna smoke no cigarette.
We're
I'm
gonna
gonna,
see how far. We're gonna see how long that goes.
so before I go off track, where I was at about the freebase, the crack was totally different. And I did that for 4 years. And I just turned into I didn't even know who I was, let alone anybody else, family and stuff realized who I was. Like, huh? So I went on this here crack epidemic times. And it caused me to do things that I never thought that I would do, far as, you know, robbing people and doing other things. And, I started working in the spot and whatnot. And, you know, I was I was getting my money to support my habit. I wasn't out there selling body and all of that to support my habit. I worked. I
Okay.
worked in the spot.
Mhm.
And that lasts for 4 years. And I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I realized I really wasn't looking like myself. And the things I was doing was not me, you know? So I had to seek help, and my older sister, may she rest in peace. She raised me when my mother passed when I was almost 15. She was 18. They let her keep us. And she hung in there with me through the good, bad, and indifference. Never turned her back on me, and I know she watching down on me and she proud of me.
Mhm.
I'm proud of me. I'm proud to be able to share all of those years I shared with her in my recovery. Um, it was rough. So I was on the bus one day, and I I know God didn't answer this prayer because He wasn't. I know He didn't answer it. I said to myself, I said, you know what? I need to get one more hit. God, if you just let me get $5 more. I found the $5, but that wasn't my last one.
Oh
I was
wow.
I was in Far Rockaway, and my brother, God bless the dead, he used to, do his little thing out there, and I was out there with him, and he was on a dialysis machine, and he went Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So he took his packages to a lady in his building while he was on the dialysis machine because he didn't want me to mess up with that money and them drugs.
Mm.
Go to show you how manipulated I was, and that crack had me. I called that lady upstairs and said, "Oh, my brother was trying to call you. He said to give me the drugs and money because I got to turn them over to the people, and he on the dialysis, and they'd be here." And she gave it to me.
Mm.
And when she gave it to me, I went through it, the money and everything. And I said, you know what? they gonna kill me.
Mhm.
These people gonna kill me about their drugs. But reality was, it was kind of like family.
Right.
But I didn't look at that. I looked at being drug dealers, and it doesn't matter. It's about money and drugs. So I called this place called Damon House, and I said, I need some help. And they said, well, could you be here tomorrow at 11 o'clock? I said, I sure will. I was up there in Damon House because it was on South First Street in Rodney and Bush. I was sitting up there at 8 o'clock in the morning. He said, your appointment ain't until 11. I said, that's okay. I'm here now. And I stayed there until it was time for me to get registered inside. And it was a therapeutic community, and I stayed there. And that's where my recovery started. And I had the best counselor in the world.
Mhm.
CB was my counselor. And he always talked to me because his caseload, he never had females on his caseload. It was me and another girl came in. I guess she had 11 o'clock appointment too. And we sat there together, and he took both of us. He said I was a headache. He said I was a headache. And even though being in treatment, I wound up going to the psychiatric ward because I was threatening people, cut people's hands off. And there was one female, man, she rests in peace. She was in there, and people that's been in these treatment facilities, they know the ropes because they don't been in and out, in and out, in and out.
Mhm.
Know how to work these programs, but I didn't know about working no therapeutic community.
Right.
And I said, she knew me from the streets, and she never messed with me because they knew I ain't play. My elevator didn't go all the way up. It stopped at the basement. It barely reached the first floor. And she made me so mad, and we was in a woman's group. And I said, yeah, because I'm contemplating about cutting somebody's throat, and I don't know if I'm gonna do it at breakfast, lunch, or dinner. But I'm gonna pull their head back like the color purple, and I'm just gonna slice their whole damn neck off.
Mm.
So what they did, they took all of the knives from me and all of this here and all of that there. I had to eat by myself at the dinner table, way in the back with plastic forks and stuff. And I wound up going to the psych ward and staying for 30 days. And when I was in there, I was very upset. I was like,
I,
I'm
I
not
I
guilty.
see you got a bunch of knives behind you. I'm kind of worried.
No, no, no. Those are collections. Those are collections. What happened is I collect them for my husband because he's veteran, this, that, and the other. I got a couple of carryos like that there.
Mm.
Even my husband, I got for him. But no, I never was a cutter now.
No.
I ain't Puerto Rican. I ain't gonna
This
cut
one here.
nobody. I
This
am a
one here.
real ghetto New York fabulous girl that I will shoot you. That's my thing. But anyway, I went in there and I stayed. And no matter how hard it might seem, the counselor I had, he saved my life because he never sugarcoated nothing. He used to talk to me rough. Because I used to say I was a rock star. He said, no, you was a crackhead. And I used to get so angry with him. I ain't no crackhead. I ain't smoked between the cracks. I was a rock star. I smoked rocks. He said you was a crackhead. And it took me a
You were
while.
just you were just giving it a different name.
Yeah, yeah. And it took me a while to accept him calling me
Mm.
that because I was very upset behind that. I ain't want to be called that because that
As you
wasn't right, right. So I stayed there. I graduated. Regina Alma was at my graduation when I graduated from the program. Alma and Regina came and support me.
should. Oh, that's cool. That's dope.
Yeah, and when I went to treatment, I was 34 years old,
Mm.
and I stayed, and I never looked back.
Right.
Um, I remember my brother, the one I was talking about that was in the wheelchair and on the dialysis. We was very close, And when I was able to get my very first visit after 30 days, the guy that took me, I wasn't supposed to go out to my brother's house. The guy that took me out there anyway. And it was February the 4th of 92. And he took me out there. I seen my brother in one night. He said, "Sis, you look good." He said, "When you come out that program, you come and get me, and I'll go and make meetings with you and get clean with you." I'll never forget those words. And I said, "Okay." And he never made it. By the time I got back to the facility, like a half an hour later, they called me downstairs and they told me my brother passed away.
Mm.
My brother was my world because he never passed. He went to every 600 school there was. My brother did not know how to read and write, but he knew how to count that money.
Mm.
And he was rough. He was the one that taught me to be a tomboy. He used to punch me in the arms and the legs and say, "You better fight like this. You better be doing all of this here stuff." And I had pigeon coops and stuff like that, making little scooters and stuff. I was a stone tomboy. So I didn't know nothing about no little dolls and rolling the thing in her back, letting her hair grow. I mean,
Let,
that
let me ask you this question
was
before you continue. Before you continue, why do you think it's important now to let people know about your sobriety and being lost at 22? Like, why do you think now this story needs to be told?
well, I gave it a lot of thought. And I'm looking at, our youth, our children and everything, where they smoking a bunch of weed and trying these different pills and stuff. And in this day and age, you know, they have so much lace stuff going on. Even the crack is laced, where people are dying and they're killing themselves. Even with the reefer. People say, "Oh, but they smoke reefer, but I wonder what happened." They run around like they crazy. That no
Mhm.
show and Phantom and all this other different names that's coming out for these drugs and people sprinkling stuff with this and that. It's time to live. You
Right.
know, and a lot of times you have a lot of lost children too. That want to be a part of. So the way I grew up, we still have children that's growing up the way I grew up, and some of them they just lost and they looking for love in all the wrong places. And it doesn't mean that they're bad. We just need to reach out and save them. It takes a village, and we can't always blame it on the parents, especially when children is at a certain age and they sitting there and they seeing a lot of things. They need to realize, you know what? I don't want to be like that.
Hmm.
Because when I grew up, I always say I didn't want to be no dope fiend or nothing. Because when I used to see them with them needles and stuff and sniffing glue and all of that, I don't want to be like that. I never did no needles and I never did no glue. And the funny part about it is that I never liked taking pills.
Right.
I'll take a needle in a minute.
What?
Yes, I would look. I never liked taking pills. I'll take a needle in a minute. And me being a diabetic and on insulin now, when I first started, I was mad. I was upset. I was like, I don't want no be sticking myself with no needle. But part of my life and part of my history, I have to do what I have to do. But yeah, I take pills and I take insulin. So
Yeah, I'm diabetic too. I don't do the insulin. I do the metformin.
okay,
I do take that twice a day.
okay,
I'm type 2 diabetic.
me too.
So I'm trying to be careful and cautious of things that I eat and watch what I do.
Yes,
Um, your story is interesting, and I'll tell you why. We've talked about this off camera. Um, my mother passed away of drug overdose. You
Mm,
know, um, so I watched my mom's grow up and do that to herself for years, and I never understood why she did it. We were going to talk about it prior to her passing, but again, time ran out, and we didn't get a chance to have that conversation.
mm,
Um, Similar, she actually gave me to my grandparents at an early age when I was 6 months. So I understand when you say you're giving your kids, they come in and get your kids. So I understand that part. I just always wanted to ask her, like, why didn't she come back for me? That was always my thing. Like, you kept my little brother, but you never came back for me.
mm.
So that's something that I had to deal with at an early age, long time. Never had no father figure. I think a lot of my father figures um, are in the park. You know, Shout out to Dio, Wayne, Al Watson, uh, my boy Chuck. Those are my big brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the ones who actually took me under their wing, looked after me. Shout out to Jake, Speedy, my guys. Those are like, my big brothers, my dads. They you know, did everything for me. Magic, Munch, the family. You know
Yeah,
how that is.
yeah,
My brother Sean at the barbershop, Molly, that's my family. So, I grew up around them. So it's always been a respect of growing up with those guys. But what intrigued me to your story is that you can actually come forward and speak about it. A lot of people will not be able to speak about what they went through. And you do it with such confidence. So, applaud to you, salute to you for actually having this confidence to come out and speak about it in an open forum where people probably never knew this about you. So, thank you for using my platform to speak your truth. So I'm very thankful for that.
yes. Thank you
Um,
for having me.
I know if I wouldn't have, you probably would have found your way to Dallas to come get me anyway. So,
Yes, Dallas is not far from me. It's closer than coming to New York.
I know.
I have a friend in Dallas too.
So it's
White
cool.
woman. No, they
Oh,
know.
okay.
Know where you black folks at.
Oh, you know that. So let's get back onto that trail at Lost at 22. Now you have your graduation, you're done, you're home. Has it ever been to a point, because I've heard this before, that people get to a point to where they might relapse and go back? Has that ever happened to you throughout this process of your sobriety?
Not at all. And I think I never relapsed. And I don't agree with people when they say people that relapse has reservations. I don't believe that. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't believe that.
Hmm.
Because you never know what happens in a person's life where they just can't deal with certain situations. Because when you get clean off them drugs, a lot of things start happening and you start getting a lot of different feelings. Your feelings change. Like, do I want to deal with this? Do I want to deal with that? But what helped me not to relapse and me losing my brother, lost my other brother, you know, losing all of these people. Because when I came in recovery, I was losing a lot of people back to back
Hmm.
to back that was close to me,
Hmm.
family members and friends. And what happened was my counselor told me something and it stuck with me when he said, well, if anything was to really happen that's really tragic,
Hmm.
he said, and if you go back to using, guess what? Ain't nothing gonna change but your clean time. He
Hmm.
said, because you ain't gonna be able to bring that person back. It ain't nothing that you could do for that person, you know. And that stuck with me when he told me that. So with me losing my brother and we was really close,
Hmm.
I said, you know what? If I had an excuse to relapse, That was the best excuse I ever had.
Mm.
But I knew that it wouldn't bring him back, and he wouldn't be proud of me. He would be very disappointed in me because we had made a promise to one another.
Mm.
And even though he didn't stay here, he passed the same day he made the promise to me.
Mm.
You know, I know that if he was still here, we would have went through these meetings together when I got out of treatment. So it's not going to change anything but your clean time and your mind frame again.
Mm.
And it's no guarantee that after the first one, you're going to even make it back.
Mm.
Ain't no guarantee. So I want to live. I don't judge people when they relapse because I don't know the reason why they did it. I don't believe in that reservation stuff because I ain't had no reservations. I said that I had a reason to stay clean because I learned not to look at things as a problem. Because if I look at things as a problem, everything becomes very negative. But if I look at it as a situation and I count to 10, I could find a solution. I might not find it right then and there, but I might find it in a day or two, but I'll find it because I'll still have a clear mind to be able
Mm.
to search for what I'm looking for.
Mm.
Because
You know, Jamila, she said, you know, she played with you for so many years, never knew that you had an addiction. How was that so easy to cover up your addiction? Like you just go about it as a normal day. Like how was that? Like did you just pick different times you wanted to do it, or did you just say, you know what, I'm not going to do it at the park, or you know, you just didn't want anybody in your business. You just waited till you got to confines of your own home. So how was that? How were you able to keep that away from when you played sports?
But let me tell you, ain't nobody never knew. Because when I was out there playing them games in the early 80s and 70s, well, the late 70s, because I started in 79,
Hmm.
I was wide open. Nobody never knew because I would play my game. And when my game was over, I ain't sit around, I left because I
Mm.
had a job to go to.
Mm.
And I was going back doing what I like to do, getting high.
Mm.
But it made my day to get out there to play ball because that's something that I love to do. So
Mhm.
I was able to get out there and play ball, but I always had me a hit before I got there. I was always open before I got there and smoked a little weed because weed was my thing.
Mm.
I loved my reefer. So I would sprinkle a little bit in the reefer and go out there and play ball. And that kept me motivated with my oolies. That's what we call them, oolie. My crack and my reefer mixed up, roll it up, and I was good. That's how I was able to play all those years.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's crazy because you know being that type of addiction, it almost felt like you had to constantly be doing it on a regular basis, and I didn't know you could even function by doing all that type of stuff and play the sport that we was playing. So that's just crazy to me overall. Like just to know that you was able to still function and give everything, and then when you was done, you was done.
Yeah, yeah.
Was there a specific reason why you just never hung out in the park, or you know, did you just didn't like the park, or you just say, you know, let me just go home?
And you know, I was basically a loner anyway,
Mm.
because when I started my addiction, freebasing, I never hung out with people. And again, the man that turned me on was a much older man, and that's the only person I used to be with. and we used to sit in there and have one of them big bowls sitting on the floor with the, you know, the wine bubbling in the bottom. You know, I could talk about this stuff and I don't have to, you know, it doesn't bother me. I could be around people that smoke reefer and it doesn't even bother me. But I ain't going around nobody smoking no crack and stuff.
No.
That ain't no
Right.
That's not for me.
You don't need to be around that anyway.
Right. But I don't knock nobody because I have a lot of friends that still do it. And I don't knock nobody. I don't knock people for what they do. I just for the grace of God, they go I. You know, if I would have stayed out there, that could be me. But I don't knock them because all wells have a bottom. And you know, even when I was using and people realized I was using, they used to say, "Oh, Janice, you need to go get some help. You need to do this. You need to do that." And I used to say to myself in the back of my mind, "You need to mind your business." You know, but I knew that I went in detox a couple of times for the wrong reasons because I was doing it for other people and not for me. And it ain't helped me none. Right. I wasn't getting on nobody methadone program or none of that. I wasn't a dope fiend. I ain't doing no methadone. Oh no. So it didn't last because I wasn't doing it for me. I was doing it for other people. And in order for you to maintain and survive, you have to do it for you. You have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I agree.
You know, so that's where I'm at, and that's why I always thank God for each day, you know, that I live, and I take it a minute at a time, you know. And if I see August 14th, I'll have that 31 years. You know, I had a rough life. Right. You know, I didn't have my children. You know, God blessed me to allow one of my children allow me to raise their child. You know, and it was a beautiful thing. Because like I said, I got clean at 34 years old. And to raise my grandbaby, you know, so he was a grown man, it was a blessing. You know, it really filled the empty void that I had and the relationship I had with my children because it wasn't good because they didn't understand, like, why didn't you come back and get us? You know, and even though I tried to explain, you know, it just seemed like I probably wasn't explaining it right, not the way they wanted to hear it. So that was a different story in itself. But you know, I'm grateful that I know all my children, and they didn't have to go through the system trying to find out who their mother was. That was another blessing. You know, and I felt guilty for so many years. So I had to come to terms and say, you know what? It's no need to feel guilty. You know, look at how young you was. Look at what you've been through in your life as a kid. You know, it took me a long time to come to terms with accepting the way they feel. You know, and allow them to feel what they need to feel.
Right.
And I feel the way that I need to feel.
How is your relationship with your kids now, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, somewhat. Me and my oldest son always been close. My other three children, we don't have. I ain't even gonna get into that, but the relationship wasn't never 100.
Okay, I understand. We don't have to get into the details. That's cool.
I'm not gonna go no further. That I'm just gonna say that part right there.
Okay. Now, where is Janice at in her life right now?
Well, I'm happy. I'm content. I'm married. I'll be married for going on 17 years. I've been with my husband for 26 years because when I got with him, my grandchild that I raised was 9 months. So Me and my husband been together for going on 26 years because my grandbaby will be 26 this month. And
Wow.
I don't no longer live in New York. You
Mhm.
know, I'm happy. You know, and I'm like happy, even though I'm not a country girl. And everybody want to make me a country girl. So the countries I got is I wouldn't put a crown on one of my teeth.
Mm.
That's as country
Um,
because my accent ain't changed. I didn't change. I am who I am, and I still have that New York mentality.
that's a fact. You're not supposed to change who you are. You just change the reality, meaning
Mhm.
you change, what can be done, what can be dealt with in life in itself.
Mhm.
Um, we all can do change. Somebody said honesty is forgiveness. Honesty and forgiveness is healing. Agree. Uh, Alika Samuel.
That's my niece,
Okay. I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize if I didn't.
Alika.
Alika. Uh, Mary Turner is on here.
That's my sister.
Okay. Uh, we got Inkara Tyree.
That's my son,
Okay. Just want you to know you got people in here who support you. Jamila,
without a doubt.
she's on here. Thought I saw some more. Blur is back.
That's my oldest son.
Dion popped in. What up, Dion? Dion popped in. Anthony popped in. What up, Ant? Mitchell Douglas.
That's my cousin.
Taney.
Who?
Taney.
Tanny?
Tanny.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, no. I was just laughing for a reason. I ain't gonna put it out there, but I'm laughing for a reason. You said Tanny, Tani, right?
So, Renee in the building. Renee's still in the building. That's what's up.
Without a doubt.
You know, shout out to everybody. Shout out to family joining us for this great conversation. She got a Sprite. She got something in her hand. All right, now let's see where she goes from here.
I got a 7 Up. Stop.
So it's a good conversation. So you said you're happy, you're married, you got a lot of things going. You're a big A60 supporter from day one. Um, what's next for you in your next chapter?
Um, you know, I'm trying to figure that out what's next. You
Mhm.
know, just remained in being me, and the funny part is about it is even though I'm down here,
Mhm.
I'm still a loner.
Mm.
And this is a very small town.
Right.
But the same way I was in New York, a loner, not dealing with a lot of people, I'm the
Mhm.
same way here. People don't come to my house, people don't visit me. They don't deal with me. And my husband, his side of the family, because he's so humble and he's like, it's okay, everything all right. Don't worry about it. It's me when they see something, because see, they don't want to be bothered now unless they need something. So
Mhm.
when we was loaning them, it was all right. Because when they would ask my husband, he'll say, well, I have to ask my wife because I can't just say, yeah, I have to bounce off my wife. And
Mhm.
then when I agreed, everything was good. But as soon as I realized the only time anybody want to talk is when they need something.
All right.
And
Right. Right. Right.
a lot of times they would see me and my husband together, knowing that they wanted something, but they would never ask. But then they would call him on his cell phone and ask. And then I would say, no. They seen us. Why didn't they say something when we was together? So
Agreed.
yeah, nobody likes me because I'm a no person. I'll say no in a minute now. You know, and my husband taught me something that I never um heard before. He said, never loan what you can't afford to lose. So I can't afford to lose nothing. So I don't loan nothing no more.
Wow.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's funny.
Yeah.
That's cool. You plan on going back to New York anytime soon, or making a little trip, or well, before I do, shout out to D Mac, Derek Matamore, my boy Steve. Steve is actually doing all the A60 apparel for this um, upcoming games for the reunion. He's doing all the shirts. Shout out to my guy Steve. Appreciate you, bro. D Mac, we need that fish. We need that fish for Saturday. Get that fish. I know you bringing the fish out. So shout out to my boy D Mac for doing that. You that's some great advice. Renee said that's some great advice that you just gave. Great advice.
Thank you.
Great advice. When is this book dropping? Because this is a great book.
Oh, what book?
The Lost at 22.
I don't know about no book. I don't know about no book. I
You got to put something together because you know this is a story. It's told here, but it needs to be told to a lot of people that don't have that strength that you have to
mm,
confront those demons and say, you know what, this is what I need to do. You know, a lot of people don't want to hear the truth either. You know, and I think you coming out and speaking out, telling your story, it brings things together for more people that wouldn't speak out. You know, it's only one voice, yes, but if you have multiple voices,
yes.
it makes a huge impact. And for you to do what you're doing, you're closing the door. What's up, OG? Closing the door.
I didn't even know you back in
Yeah,
there.
you do
So
it.
you know, I think that's dope. I think that's dope what you're doing. You're staying positive. You created your own space, so it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, this is my little computer room. So he out there with that surround sound with that TV like he at the movie theater.
Mhm.
So he don't want to be here, nothing in here. So he closed my door. Okay, that'll work.
He don't want to hear your stuff. You don't want to hear his stuff.
No, he be having that TV up like
Uh,
in the movies. He got the whole house surround sound in there.
uh,
So he just be with them westerns and all of these different shows. He loved TV. He loved watching his TV.
Anything else you want to share before we get off?
Not at the moment. I think I covered most of what I needed to cover. If something else comes up afterwards, after I've reviewed this here,
Mhm.
maybe something else will come up, and I'll let you know if I need to reveal some more stuff.
Part three?
This is only part one.
No, this is part two.
No, it ain't.
It
No,
is.
no, it ain't.
It is.
It is not.
We did an interview already, woman.
Look, no, we did not. We did an interview on something totally different and
Yeah,
got shut down real quick. Let's remember now.
I remember that story, but it still was an interview, so it'll be part three. We'll just call it something different.
All right. Okay.
We'll just call it something different. That's what we'll call it. It'll be part three. It'll give us, time to, do more research. Like I said,
Right.
um, I think you covered a lot as far as your sobriety. I think you covered stuff about your family, um, your addiction, and where you are right now, which all are key elements to what. And then you talked about moving forward. So we touched on every little area in a short amount of time, which is what we wanted to do. And we wanted people to know what you did, what you've accomplished. We want to say, me personally, I want to say thank you for always being positive and always being strong, willing. Thank you for all the messages you always send. And that just shows the person you are, genuine. And for those who don't know you, they get to see this side of you that they probably don't get to see. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah. You know what?
What's up?
As we talking, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said a part three.
Yes, ma'am.
And it can be a part three because I could talk about because you asked me where I'm at now, and I
Yes,
can speak about the things I have grown through since I've been here and still has my sobriety,
that's
or
true.
storms that I face down here, but I still have my sobriety.
That is true. See, you always leave the door open for something because it's never closed.
Yeah, yeah.
Renee said, thanks for being a great teammate. The teams that y'all played together, you're awesome.
Thank you, and I just want to thank everybody who tuned in, who supported me. You know, Renee, I love you, and I want to thank you. You always been an awesome ball player too. And even when Renee was mad, you would never know because she always had a smile. You know, on that field. But then after the field, she'll tell you how she really feel because you don't got on the nerves. But she kept that smile so she could continue to be able to play her game because you can't play with her attitude. If
Hmm.
you play with the attitudes, you'll lose focus.
Hmm.
And I forgot what it was, but with Cha Cha that time, man. Every Nady, I remember when I got hit in the head on third base and fell out and I was playing with Cha Cha. He came breathing over me, slobbing like some damn dog. He always look like he foaming from the mouth like a sugar Budweiser. He said, Jonas, no matter how fine what's wrong with you, God. Oh, Lord Jesus, Cha Cha, if you don't move.
Your son said you're a wonderful grandmother of six.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
See, there are some people out here that really need and appreciate you. So,
Yes, yes. Yeah.
yes, you were knocked out. Renee said, yes, we thought you were knocked out. How funny is that?
That was funny.
Well, I ain't going to hold you, Miss Janice.
I don't tell you about that miss stuff. Janice is good.
Sadie McVeigh, whatever.
Sadie, you gonna learn how to pronounce my mother's name. Sadie. Ain't no Sadie. Ain't no damn horse
So
saddle.
S
It's
A
Sadie.
S A say sad. Okay.
No, Sadie.
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 Okay,
Sadie.
Sadie. Okay. Sadie McVeigh. I apologize.
It's okay.
Until part three, I'll be talking to you later. Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Giving me your time on a Saturday. I know you'd rather be smoking some cigarettes, but I just want to say thank
There
you.
you go. See, I don't get good this whole interview. I ain't smoked not one cigarette,
You didn't smoke that one. No, you did.
not one. And I ain't drink a lot of soda. I took a
Yeah,
couple
you
of sips
did. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I
You was
stayed
good.
focused. There you go. You just try to get me riled up, but I ain't messing with you. Because I remember when we did that interview with T. Talking about how I want to say
You
the
know
best
me.
so much of garbage. But I want to
All
thank
right.
you. I really want to thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share my story. I want to thank everybody that chimed in and supported me. I appreciate all of y'all. When I do part three, y'all would know. And I just love the support that was shown to me today. And I appreciate y'all. And thank y'all for being y'all and being real.
All right. And that does it. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. I appreciate it. Janice, we'll talk offline, okay?
Sure, you're right.
All right.
Have a blessed one. Happy holiday to everybody. Be safe. You and your family remain safe and have a blessed holiday.
All right. That was a great interview. Great interview with my girl Janice. She's always fun and positive. Love her to death, man. We talk a lot, and for her to give me her time, her wisdom, her energy, I really appreciate that because not everybody's very open. Not everybody's willing to talk, and for her to come on here and talk and be confident and talk about what she's been through is a blessing, and it just says for itself, and it speaks for her and her character. So I'm thankful. Again, thank you for everybody that tuned in. Really appreciate you giving up your time on a Saturday. On a Saturday. The A60 Jersey Party, July 8th, 7 to 11, BYOB. If you need those tickets, please let me know. Hit me up. Those donations are most doubtably needed. Then we got the reunion game on Saturday and Sunday, starting at 12 with the co-ed game on this Saturday at St. John's. Next Saturday at St. John's Park. I look forward to seeing everybody there. Bring your barbecue grills out. I'm looking for people to come out and just have a great time. T-shirts will be on sale for $20. If you already have put your information out there, I will see it. If you're looking to hear more stories from the A60 podcast, please go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to it, Chopping It Up with A60. Please subscribe to it, and then we'll go from there. I would appreciate it. All right? To all my friends, family, be safe this weekend. Be well. Drive carefully. Save some of the partying for when I come up there. I would appreciate it. Everybody else, peace and love. Be safe.